Bitter criticism, my fourth try, because we have tangled problems here with the Zoom, with the super support look. It's just a carton, a regular box, carton box. Wish me luck now. Yeah, I did it just in time when the noisy truck gone. Yeah, the noisy truck gone. Go away, noisy truck. Go away, noisy truck. Woo, the noisy truck gone, Mimi. Well, this is Mimi, my fiancée. No, this is just an old dog, an old female dog. She's cancer, just like me. We are going to have a party just alongside Pepe Escobar and Rui Costa Pimenta and our best one, Daniel Jadue, in prison. Maybe I was listening some podcast, some Daniel Jadue podcast as I was doing yoga, and I guess he was too Daniel Jadue was too good. too good, and that's why he's in prison, boys. That's the whole truth about prison. He's too courageous. I'm not sure if there's bad people in prison. I'm pretty sure Daniel Jadue is innocent. I mean, he don't deserve to be in prison. And Ecuador president neither. I don't remember his name. Well, Ecuador good president Rafael Correa doesn't deserve to be in prison neither. Anyway, here we have Pepe Escobar articles from the Cradle, and that's what I'm going to read. No, actually, this is submitted by Alastair Crook. On the Cradle. Oh, no, this is Zero Edge. That's what is this. This is Zero Edge. European Unity at the Illiberal Order by Tyler Durden. Monday 17, 2024. Submitted by Alastair Crook. I have been reading for some time that Europe and the US are in a period of alternate revolution and civil war. Alternate Revolution and Civil War by Alastair Crook. We have a crazy photo, like I'm not sure what that means. This is Washington, I guess. With history warns us that such conflicts tend to be extended, with peak episodes which are revolutionary as the prevailing paradigm first cracks. Yet which in reality are both alternate modes of the same, toggling between revolutionary peaks and the slow slog of intense cultural war. We are, I believe, in such an era. I also have suggested that a nascent current counter-revolution was slow in gathering, defiantly unwilling to recant traditionalist moral values, not prepared to submit to an oppressive liberal international order posing as liberal. What I had not expected was that the first shoe to drop will occur in Europe. That it will be France that will be the first to break the illiberal mold. I had thought that it will break first in the US. The European MEP election outcome may come to be viewed as the first swallow, signaling a substantive change in the weather. There are to be snap elections in Britain and France and Germany, as well as much of Europe is in a state of political disarray. Have no illusions though. The cold reality is that Western power structures own the wealth, the key institutions in society, and the levers of enforcement. To be plain, they hold the commanding heights. How will they manage a West ending towards moral, political, and possibly financial collapse? Most likely by doubling down with no compromise. And that predictable doubling down will not necessarily be confined to fights within the Colosseum arena. It will certainly impinge into high risk geopolitics. Undoubtedly, U.S. structures will have been deeply disconcerted by the European election portent. What does the European anti-establishment unity imply for those ruling structures in Washington, especially at a time when all the world sees Joe Biden visibly wobbling? How will subtitle? How will they distract us from this first crack to their international structural edifice? Already there is US-led military escalation ostensibly connected to Ukraine, but those objective clearly is to provoke Russia into retaliation by incrementally escalating NATO violations of Russia's strategic red lines. It seems that the US hawks seek to gain the escalatory advantage over Moscow, leaving to Moscow the dilemma of how far to retaliate. The Western elites do not fully believe the warnings from Moscow. This provocation ploy might conceivably offer either a craftier image of the US winning, starting the outputting, or alternatively come to provide a pretext to postpone US presidential elections as global tensions spike, thereby giving the permanent state time to get its ducks in line up to manage an early Biden succession. This calculus, however, is contingent on how soon Ukraine implodes, either militarily or politically. An earlier than unexpected Ukrainian implosion might become the staging for a US pivot to the Taiwan front, a contingency that already is being prepared. Why is Europe in immunity? The immunity has arisen because many in the West now see only too clearly. The Western ruling structure is no liberal project per se, but rather is an avowedly illiberal mechanical control system, managerial technocracy that fraudulently poses as liberalism. Clearly, many in Europe are aligned from the establishment. The causes may be multiple: Ukraine, immigration, or falling living standards. Yet, all Europeans are versed in the narrative that history has been to the long arc of liberalism, Cold War period, in the post-Cold period, post-Cold War period. Yet that has proved illusory. Their reality has been control, surveillance, censorship, technocracy, lockdowns, and climate emergency. Illiberalism. Illiberalism, even quasi-totalitarianism in short. Von der Leyen took things further recently, arguing that if you think of information manipulation as a virus, instead of treating an infection once it has taken hold, it is much better to vaccinate so that the body is inoculated. I didn't got what she mean, but let's go. When then did traditional liberalism, in those loosest definition, turn illiberal? So they are saying that Europe is illiberal. Illiberal. The about phase came in the 1970s. In 1970, Zbig Brzezinski, who was to become National Security Advisor to President Carter, published a book entitled Between Two Ages, America's Role in the Technocratic Era. In it, Brzezinski argued, quote, the technotronic era involves the gradual appearance of a more controlled society, such a society dominated by an elite unrestrained by traditional values and practicing continuous surveillance over every citizen, together with manipulation of the behavior and intellectual functioning of all people. That's definitely. You know, people say that Rui Costa Pimenta from PCO in Brazil, he says that Gabriel Boric right here in Chile, he may be a CIA agent. You know, Gabriel Boric may be a CIA agent, but the question is, look, I will read this again. Together with manipulation of the behavior, together with and such a society dominated by an elite unrestrained by traditional values and practicing continuous surveillance over every citizen, together with manipulation of the behavior and intellectual functioning of all people, will become the new norm. Well, Gabriel Boric may be just a regular Chilean. That's what is interesting. Whoever don't ever have lived in Chile, these people right here, at least I'm not hanging around, but I look closely to this Z generation and everyone, you know. Chileans are just like saying here, manipulation of the behavior and intellectual functioning of all people. I will wait for the bus, noisy truck, go away. I will read again now. Look, the technotronic era involves the gradual appearance of a more controlled society, such a society dominated by an elite unrestrained by traditional values and practicing continuous surveillance over every citizen, together with manipulation of the behavior and intellectual functioning of all people, will become the new norm. Well, I read it 3 times just to show you that Gabriel Boric is a regular Chilean. Unfortunately, he is a regular. Gabriel Boric is a regular controlled citizen. You know, he's a zombie. Every Chilean is a zombie. Anyway, they are controlled, you know. They cannot create nothing new because they are controlled right now. Understand? That's what happening in a liberal colonial society as Chile is. I lost myself, but elsewhere, he argued that the nation state as a fundamental unit of man's organized life has ceased to be the principal creative force. International banks and multinational corporations are acting and planning in terms that are far in advance of the political concepts of the nation state. Thus, it business cosmopolitanism as the future. David Rockefeller and the power brokers around him, together with his Bilderberg grouping, seized on Brzezinski's side to represent the third leg to ensuring that the 21st century will indeed be the American century. The other two legs were control of oil resources and dollar hegemony. Then followed a key report, Limits to Growth. 1971, Club of Rome, again a Rockefeller creation, which provided the deeply flawed scientific underpinning to Brzezinski. It predicted an end to civilization owing to population growth, combined with depleting resources, including and especially depleting energy resources. This dire prediction was imputed to say that only economic experts, tech experts, leaders of multinational corporations and banks had the foresight and technological understanding to manage society, subject to the complexity of limits to growth. Limits to growth was a mistake. It was flawed, yet that did not matter. President Clinton's advisor to the UN Rio conference, Tim Weir, admitted the error, yet cheerfully added, "We have got to right the global warming issue. Even if the theory is wrong, we will be doing the right thing in terms of economic policy. The proposition was wrong, but the policy was right. Economic policy was upended based on faulty analysis. The godfather to further pivot to totalitarianism, apart from David Rockefeller, was his protege, and later Klaus Schwab's indispensable advisor. Maurice Strong, William Hengdahl was written how circles directly tied to David Rockefeller, and Strong in the 1970s built the dazzling array of elite private invitation organizations and think tanks. This included the Neo-Malthusian Club of Rome. The Club of Rome, the MIT authored study, Limits to Growth, and the Trilateral Commission. You know, I want to be a member of the Valdai Club, and I will make a joke now. I will put in my social media Queen of Valdai Club Queen, Valdai Club's Queen. I am the Queen, yeah. I want to get free. No, I want to be a member and then party hard there, discussing a little bit and party hard. What about that? The Trilateral Commission, however, was the secretive heart of the matrix. When Carter took office in January 1976, his cabinet was drawn almost entirely from the ranks of Rockefeller's Trilateral Commission, to such an astonishing degree that some Washington's insiders call it the Rockefeller presidency. Engdahl writes, Craig Carpel in 1977 also wrote, quote, "The presidency of the US and the key cabinet departments of the federal government have been taken over by that private organization dedicated to the subordination of the domestic interests of the United States to the international interests of the multinational banks and corporations. It would be unfair to say that the Trilateral Commission dominates the Carter administration. The Trilateral Commission is the Carter administration. Too much noisy trucks now. Too much noisy everything, even aircrafts. Terrible noises. Terrible noise. More subtitles. Commission is Carter administration. Every key U.S. government foreign and economic policy post since Carter has been held by a trilateral endowed rights. And so it continues, a matrix of overlapping membership that is little visible to the public, and which very loosely may be said to have constituted the permanent state. Did it exist in Europe? Yes, branches across Europe. No hope for this truck. La puta que te parió, concha su madre. I think that dog is Aquarius. Stupid Aquarians. Anyway, did it exist in Europe? Yes, branches across Europe. Here lies the root to last weekend's European unity. Many Europeans refuse the concept of a controlled universe. Many are defiantly unwilling to recant their traditional ways of life or their traditional allegiances. The Rockefeller-Faustian bargain of the 1970s had one narrow segment of the American ruling cadre seceding from the American nation to occupy a separate reality in which they disassembled an organic economy to the benefit of the oligarchy, with compensation coming only from their embrace of identity politics and the just rotation of some diversity into corporate executive suites. Look at that in this way. The Rockefeller deal can be viewed as a parallel to the South African arrangement that ended apartheid. The Anglo elites held onto economic resources and power, whilst the ANC on the other side of the equation got a Potemkin facade on their taking political power. Subtitle: For Europeans, this Faustian arrangement degrades human down to identity units occupying the spaces between markets, rather than markets being the ancillary to an organic human-centered economy. As Karl Polanyi wrote some 80 years ago in The Great Transformation, he traced the turmoil of his era down to one cause: the belief that society can and should be organized to self-regulating markets. For him, this represented nothing less than an ontological break with much of human history. Prior to the 19th century, he insisted the human economy had always been embedded in society. It was subordinated to local politics, customs, religion, and social relations. The converse, Rockefeller's technocratic illiberal come identity paradigm led only to the attenuation of social bonds, the atomization of community, to the lack of metaphysical content, and thus to an absence of existential purpose and meaning. Illiberalism is unfulfilling. Illiberalism is unfulfilling. It says, you don't count, you don't belong. Many Europeans evidently now get it, which somehow take us back to the question of how the Western strata will react to the nascent mutiny against the international order that has been accelerating across the globe, and which has now surfaced in Europe, albeit with diverse colorations and some ideological baggage. I guess what happened with neoliberalism or illiberalism. I mean, well, neoliberalism is illiberal, you know? Neoliberalism is illiberal. I guess that's just imperialism. That's just capitalism. Anyway, it is not likely for now that the ruling strata will compromise. Those who dominate tend to fear existentially. Either they keep dominating or they lose all. They see only a zero-sum game. Each side status becomes frozen. People increasingly meet only as adversaries. Co-citizens become dangerous threats who must be opposed. Yeah, this is just capitalism, you know. Everyone is against everyone. Global South that's the norm. Global South is always been like that. People actually, right here in Chile, for example, they are specialists in toxic comments, you know, toxic comments in Chile. That's it, for sure. And in every situation, you know, even when you are paying for some service, everybody is terrible. Supermarket, college, everywhere. People is just toxic, extremely toxic right here in Chile. So consider the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Leaders in the US ruling strata comprise many zealous supporters of a Zionist Israel. As the international order starts to crack, this segment of structural power in the US is likely to be uncompromising too, fearing a zero-sum outcome. There is an Israeli narrative to the war and a rest of world narrative, and they don't really meet. Now to arrange things. How to arrange things? The transformative effect of seeing others differently, Israelis and Palestinians, presently is not on the table. More subtitle. That conflict has the potential to get much worse, and for longer. Might the ruling strata, desperate for a certain outcome, seek to fold and try to conceal the horrors of this West Asian struggle within a wider geostrategic war, one in which greater multitudes become displaced, thus dwarfing a regional horror. Anyway, I guess, yeah, I guess, no, I guess it was Pepe Escobar. I'm sorry. Yeah. I am. I'm confused here because I guess I copied 2 times from 2 places. I guess that was Pepe Escobar. Yeah, yeah. Look, it's the same article. Uh, no, I guess the Pepe Escobar articles, they are not always the same. I guess they publish something and somebody published another version of the same article. Understand? That's the question. Anyway, the ruling strata, I'll prefer to say the global elite, or anyway, yeah, but who cares? Yeah, this is just capitalism. Capitalism is just that. Well, the article is huge, is bigger. So I just read the short version. Anyway, so it's very, very bigger. But anyway, next one. I'm not sure anyway, yeah, that's it. There's more. I have always loved Rome. I was surprised at how many restaurants I used to go to have been closed and driven out of business thanks to COVID-19. I'm not sure with which article is that. I missed the headline here. Italy's day ahead. This is also from Pepe Escobar Telegram. But I'm not sure what the hell is this one. Posted on June 16, 2024 by Martin Armstrong. Spread the love. While we must first go through some hard times, we will never reform until most people see that this is not going in the right direction. It is unbelievable. I was willing to give the benefit of the doubt to Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni, who rose to power from virtually nowhere. People were fed up with the BS of career politicians and I don't know what's BS of career politicians and the collapse of so many businesses, and turned to fresh face who was not a fascist or even a neo-fascist. She's a right-wing populist nationalist of a type who seems to be naive and has been conquered by the neocon agenda. She's more likely to engulf Italy in World War III. What? But that seems to be the European agenda as a distraction from the crisis unfolding, as the euro is drowning in fiscal mismanagement. Italy, Milano Italy Borsa MIB index expressed in euro. The Italian share market began to crash 1 week after the turn in the economic confidence model of May 7th. I don't see nothing here. It's just going up and down. That's it. The major resistance stands at the 35,000 level, and that is where the bounce effectively hits a wall of resistance. Meloni's insane comment that Russia will be forced to surrender if the Kremlin does not agree to the terms of peace that the EU dictates to Russia is just unimaginable. According to Meloni, she made this comment during the broadcast of the second plenary session of the Peace Summit. Quote, defending Ukraine means uniting all the efforts of the international community to protect Ukraine. If Russia does not agree with Ukraine's terms, we will force it to surrender. We need to set the minimum conditions for this discussion. Her total lack of experience is precisely what neocons have counted on. She has joined the cheerleaders for World War III, and the audacity, if not total ignorance, of the fact that it was the West and Kiev that started this war intentionally to force Putin into World War III so they could conquer Russia and engage in genocide. Ukraine is the most disgusting, corrupt, and untrustworthy country in the face of this planet, and they will use whatever means to start World War III. You know, I think this device to highlight the word, I guess that's wrong, you know? I guess that's wrong. It's very popular. I know a lot of people who do that, but I guess it's just wrong. Because the words have the meaning in itself. This is not grammar, you know? This is grammarly wrong, I guess. And they will use whatever means to start World War III. I apologize to those in Rome that I could not stay longer to meet with Meloni, which many wanted to arrange. But based on her recent comments, it is clear that the neocons will have told her not to meet with me anyway. She was joined the warmongering crowd. I just hope this was not the last time I will ever see the Roman Forum. Yeah, because of destruction of war. I guess, yeah. But right here you get, over there you have Laguna Verde. What about that? Laguna Verde is innocent. And we have more index from economy. These failed leaders who are clearly incompetent to drive a taxi are steering the world into World War III. This insane confrontation with Russia appears to be heating up in July. Putin is the only again, look. You know, this tendency is wrong. You know, stop doing this. Don't be. This is childish. You know, childish. Putting the in capital letters. Capital letters is childish. It's just like a child screaming. Putin is the only adult in the room. Understand? So it's childish. Capital letter is childish. Putin is the only adult in the room. He desperately keeps warning. He desperately keeps warning. Is this where you want to go? Yeah. Is this where you want to go? I've always loved Rome. I was surprised at how many restaurants I used to go to have been closed and driven out of business thanks to COVID-19. Sorry for informed Italian leaders, but you are heading to a recession, and with Giorgia Meloni taking directions from the neocons instead of addressing the economic issues like Mussolini. No, that was just because she is supposed to not be a neocon, isn't it? We have the worst crop of leaders in modern history around the globe, all hell bent on creating war. Instead of being neutral, she has thrown Italy into the target zone. And that's it. Now I'm going to do a lot of yoga. You know, look, I'm pretty glad that Tommy and Peter Touch over there, they are not fighting each other. I'm pretty glad. Thank you, boys. Thank you, don't make me angry. Can you see they are not fighting anymore? They this boy over there is not a boy, is a, well, Peter Touch over here, look, over here, he's very old. Peter Touch Peter Touch is old, he's not a boy, you know? But that's it, it's fine. And they are not fighting, was the most important, understand? Because Peter Touch over there, when any male come here or any new dog, he advised, he claimed the land, you know. He claimed the land. And with Tommy was not different. It was not different. But Peter Touch and now Milo, look. Well, Peter Touch with 5 Milo because Milo is gay. Can you see? Well, I guess that you can see Tommy's. Anyway, well, because Tommy Milo is gay and Peter Touch is homophobic, or at least Peter Touch doesn't want to be. Is not gay, understand? But with Tommy is not gay neither, and Peter Touch just realized that Tommy is just stronger. And that's it. And Tommy lives here with him. That's it. Peter Touch is great, you know.
Yo creo que te equivocaste, eso sí, no quieres ser diputado, quieres ser senador por la región de Valparaíso. Claro, región de Valparaíso. Cuidado, les van a ir a disparar a los niños y a las mujeres. Mira, a ver, vamos.
Claramente por una sola medida, pero una es cerrar la frontera. Artículo 12 y 8, justicia militar. ¿Qué significa? Un militar que recibe una instrucción, y si esa instrucción no se puede cumplir racionalmente por parte de quien recibe la instrucción, el militar debe usar su arma de servicio, alto o fuego. Paso no habilitado en la práctica. ¿Sí? Están echando a unas personas. ¿Se les dispara? Efectivamente. ¿Mujeres? Esa es la norma. Mujeres, niños, al que sea. Lo que pasa es que en la medida que haya una decisión del Estado comunicada con anticipación, no van a llegar ni mujeres ni niños. Y si llegan, tendremos que actuar con las armas que nos entregue el Estado de Derecho, incluidas las armas. Se les dispara. Pero vamos a tener que hacerlo. Y la opción B, el año 74, Chile estuvo a punto de ser invadido por Perú, y era un país que estaba con una crisis brutal, llenamos de minas la frontera norte. Y fue una herramienta para impedir que pasaran los tanques peruanos. Yo no descarto que denunciemos el tratado de minas antipersonales y sembremos de minas en la frontera norte. Todos los pasos...
O sea, Daniel Howard, dale el contexto a la gente que nos está viendo, que yo me quedé helado. O sea, hay que dispararle a un niño. Lo primero que puedo decir es lo peligroso que me parece que este caballero quiera ser presidente de Chile, además. Lo peligroso, ¿no? Segundo, lo peligroso que me parece porque él todavía no da cuenta de las platas que ocupó para demoler las supuestas casas de los narcos, de cuánta gente fue presa después de esa gran gestión. Ninguna, ¿no? Entonces yo creo que se pasó no 3, se pasó como 17 pueblos. Miren, yo lo que quiero decir es que esta es la derecha que defiende el derecho a la vida del que está por nacer. Pero cuando ya nacen, no, hay que matarlos a todos, ¿no? Me parece
me parece un ser bien poco consistente, ¿no? Bien poco consistente. Y lo más, esto de salir a decir, no, yo nací en Valparaíso. Quiere ser senador por la región, por la quinta, porque ya no puede seguir siendo efectivamente alcalde, lo que es legítimo, ¿eh? Lo puede hacer. Pero yo me parece muy peligroso. Esto me parece muy parecido a lo que los israelíes están haciendo en Palestina. Matar a los civiles a diestra y de siniestra, ¿no? Es una posición bastante fascista. Yo espero que él lo explique. Yo creo que...
Sabes que yo no quiero defenderlo, pero me parece tan brutal como tú dices lo que hemos escuchado del alcalde Rodolfo Carter, que quiero pensar que él está concentrado en responder y no escuchaba lo que le decía el señor Mochavi.
Mira, oye, mira el comentario de este hombre que se pone Tel Aviv, o mujer que le dice Tel Aviv: humanoide concha de su madre, ya te van a pasar la cuenta. Estos son los seguidores de Carter y los republicanos, que además no dan el nombre nunca. Pero bueno, son así.
Amigo, amiga, si usted quiere participar de este programa, discrepe, pero con un poquito más de respeto, sin ningún problema, discrepe en todo.
Sí,
pero con respeto, por favor.
Vayamos bloqueando a los imprudentes.
That was Daniel Jadue.
Los valores de la comunidad sin maquillaje.
Well, I'm not sure if I can release Tommy with Peter Touch right here. Yeah, I guess I'm not gonna do it. I guess, you know, dogs are mysterious. Maybe Peter Touch is just here, waiting for Tommy. Maybe that's what's happening. Hey Tommy, I will not gonna release you because of Peter Touch. You both guys, you are not gonna fight. And well, Daniel Jadue over there in the podcast, it was saying one thing nobody can deny. Everybody knows that killing Palestinians nowadays, or like the far right in Chile also want to kill a lot of people nowadays with cameras, internet, social media. That's impossible. There will be civil war and people will win the war. I'm not sure if, well, people is not perfect. People keep ruling capitalism, financing Israel, but I guess if Israel or the right wing in Chile or any place do what Israel is doing, that will be the end for them.